you know. Now,
See,
to be fair,
to be fair,
I mean, okay, go. Sorry,
no,
go
no,
on.
go ahead.
No, you first.
No, no, no. I
All
insist you
right. Well, what I
first.
was gonna say, right, was like Borderlands One had. I feel some of the mechanics in that game were a little bit better and tighter than in two. You know, like some of the looting was, the looting was just better. Um, some of the variety in the DLC was, it just, it changed it up. It wasn't necessarily good. You weren't, I mean, Mad Mox's Underdome was probably the DLC of all the Borderlands games that I have liked the least. But, at the same time, I feel like if Captain Marin can handle making the mechanics solid, it doesn't really matter as much if the story isn't that great. Because I love Borderlands 1, and Borderlands 1 wasn't the most story-centric thing ever. Like you had to dig for the story, and even then, it was a little bit iffy at best.
Well, I mean, if we're talking
And
story and whatnot, Jack is going to be all over the prequel.
yeah,
So, that's kind of like a positive in that regards.
yeah, especially if they have to have that voice actor, because I think, I mean, he clearly had, some experience with the character. I don't think he's going to let them go too sort of crazy with things.
No, I think it is the same voice actor and everything, because he's the only one that doesn't speak Australian. That's an NPC.
What's the problem with that? What is wrong with speaking Australian?
You would think that I wouldn't be complaining about such a thing, since I mainly game with Aussies. But the Aussies I game with speak normally. They don't, like, I mean, yeah, they have an accent, but they don't have that over the top.
G'day, mate.
Yeah,
How you doing?
and that's, to me, that's like, I've known plenty of Aussies. That's not how
Let's put
Aussies
some prawns
speak.
on the barbecue and have a great night out.
Right. That's what I don't like about
drinks.
it. Because they put the accent on so thick. It's just over the top. And that's not the way it is. And that's what annoys me about it, because that's made up.
Are you saying there's something wrong with speaking like this?
I'm saying when you get high and nasally, and it sounds like your thumb is up your bum, that I do not approve of that message. And what we have then is failure to communicate.
So you worry the accents are gonna get to you?
I already heard the accents, and they already got to me in the trailer. It was bad. Because they had this female. I'll send you the link when we're done here. Remind me.
I know who you're talking about.
I would totally.
I think I've seen that gameplay.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It was so over the top. White is the new junk. Yeah, she sounded like a blonde little shrimp on the Barbie trollop that could have just stayed on the Barbie. Yeah, I don't like, trollops. At least not that kind of trollop. I don't like the airheady trollops,
You've passed so much judgment on this character.
I have. She reminded me of a blonde bimbo, but with an Aussie accent. And I did not approve.
You did not approve.
I did not approve.
This is not Travis approved.
No, this was not Saint Killjoy authorized by any stretch. Oh yeah, like they're gonna we have to appease one player. No, no, if ever they heard this message, they would be just laughing their asses off. Like, yeah, we'll get right on that, dude. But if it's not for the pre-sequel, I want to buy something that's coming out in October, you know? Because there's a lot of things coming out in October, and I want to buy something. And if it's not the prequel, what the hell is it going to be? Because nothing else is like really jumping out at me. But again, I don't know that I want to pay $50 to play on the moon.
Talking about the real issues. Yeah.
I know. You know what's sad? I enjoy Borderlands 2 so much that I could literally just spend another year just in Borderlands 2 and be content.
Yeah, I understand that.
Like, I'm half tempted since Drew's never played Borderlands 1. You know, I'm half tempted for all of us to get on Borderlands 1.
He refuses to play. Drew is like, he's just got like a little bit, like a tad of OCD, but like like I tried to get him onto Borderlands 1 and he was just like, look, you know, I touched Borderlands 2 first and I just can't go back.
No, that's the whiskey talking. Now,
Yeah,
I will admit that, you know, I tried to play a little bit of Borderlands 2 and 1 at the same time, and it was difficult to go back to 1 after playing 2 because the improvements that they made with the controls and the mechanics are just that much better.
Yeah.
They were solid improvements.
Yeah, there definitely were, but at the same time, like there were things that I personally think were better in Borderlands 1.
Well, yeah, Borderlands 1, 18 million gun combinations. Borderlands 2, 5 million gun combinations. Come on. You tell me. You know, that's like the one thing I'm kind of hoping about the pre-sequel is that the nonsense with the guns is changed up, and I'm also hoping SNS comes back because I don't like the bandit weapons. I miss my SNS weapons. I want my SNS submachine guns. Big Gearbox, 2K Marin, whoever.
Wow, what have you got on there? It's over. It's not here, so I'm playing again. Hello, Internet. This is my father.
Yeah. Say hi, Pops.
Yes, Dad. What's that? That is a card, Dad. Yeah. I thought we played home yesterday somehow. Very strange. It only seems to be there. No, wow.
Get your health and shields right here.
If we're really quiet, we might be able to hear Prophet's dad say something really embarrassing. And that could be awesome because he's like almost legendary with his embarrassing quotes.
What, my dad?
Yeah.
What is responsibility, son?
Oh yes. Please explain responsibility. Explain the definition of responsibility. I was waiting for the undies on the floor comment again. That would have been pretty priceless.
Oh, you're cruel, man.
I was waiting for it. No, if I was cruel, I would have gone into more detail about that comment. So I'm not as cruel as I could be.
I was so tired, and I just threw, all my clothes to the floor. It was a long night out. I had a rough night. I was just like, alright, you know what? I'm just going to, I'll deal with it in the morning. In the morning, got, my breakfast and whatnot. I just, went about my day. No one was in the house, so I just, was just chilling. Nothing that serious. Dad comes home towards the end of the night, and I made the mistake of leaving my door wide open.
Wide open.
He wonders why I lock it.
Wide open being the keywords.
Yeah. And he just walked right in. Have you got my newspaper? No, old man. I don't read the newspaper. I use the internet to get news. Like everyone else in the 21st century.
Yep. I read my news on the internet.
Who doesn't read the news on the internet?
My pops.
Surprised newspapers are even printed anymore.
It's actually probably that age group, because my dad's in the age group too, and he doesn't.
It's not here. The bloodshot's cracked.
So anyway, you know, have you got my newspaper? No, I don't have your newspaper. No, I don't have the I don't have the phone. No, I don't have the keys to the car.
No, your
Why on
mom
earth
is
would
the
I have
one
the keys
usually
to the
asking
car?
about the phone.
Yeah, my mom's always using the phone. I'm not really.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think, because my grandma lives with us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to think she has, you know, the dementia's starting to hit. You know, she's just starting to forget things. I have a feeling she's taking the phone and then forgetting it places, and then we end up with the phone lost. Which is, you know, not useful for anyone. But I mean, she does so much housework because she can't seem to sit still. I mean, we're not gonna, but we can't stop her from doing things around the house. We've tried. We really, you know, we've tried to excess. It has been a valiant effort, but you know, end of the day, she gets bored and just does things. You know, I don't think my grandmother learned how to relax. So she loses the phone, and then I have to deal with the fact that Mum's lost. You know, Mum can't find the phone. To be fair, I'm not sure why her first port of call is my room. I haven't, you know, I mean, I haven't been using the phone for years. You know.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, there was a time where, you know, it would be in my room. You
Back
know,
in the day.
when I was like 15 and, you know, back in the day.
Well, you know,
like,
15 wasn't that
phone
long
would-
ago, man.
I know.
Hey, there's a purple.
Okay. It was-
There's a
but
purple
it was
fire
4 years
SMG.
ago, and oh, nice.
I
But 15, it was easier for me to use the phone than to Skype. You know, just because my parents had their arbitrary rules of the internet, so it was just easier to just grab the phone and talk to somebody rather than try and Skype them or message them otherwise. That's no longer the case. You know, I don't bother phoning in. Come on, man. There you go.
yep. I totally picked up that fire SMG.
Good.
You know how I feel about my fire SMGs.
Obsessive and compulsive, I believe. Would be the case.
Yeah. No doubt.
I don't even mean that in a rude way. You really do just really love the fire SMGs.
Yeah. Well, see, Prophet's played with me enough. He knows that I'm particular about my weapons, and like certain weapons, I want to have certain elements. You know, and I'm just very finicky and picky when it comes to what I use and play with. Which is nice because when I'm playing with other people, they can constantly get stuff that I don't want because it's not my
Which
particulars.
works well for me because I'm, you know, I really do enjoy my good loot and I'm very not fussy in what I use.
There's a
know,
blue
I-
pistol up here. You can
picked it
take.
up.
You already got it? Good
Yeah,
deal.
I figured. Yeah.
Oh, here's
I
a
figured, you know,
here's a
you
Vlad.
didn't want it since you didn't pick it up.
No, I
Ooh,
didn't.
there's a Vlad. Where's the Vlad?
There's a
Is it
Vlad
white?
there that you might like.
Oh, it's a good. Ooh, that's nice. Pretty.
And I got a
Thanks.
sniper rifle you might like too over here. Check that out.
Yeah. Since the vault opened, my siren powers have been getting a little...
Lilith's doing her thing.
No idea why. Now, let's talk about rescuing my boyfriend.
Yes, let's talk about rescuing my boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend.
Before the Bloodshots grabbed him, Roland was getting intel on the vault and what Jack's plans to do. You have to find it. I gotta head
Convenience,
back to
weapon
Sanctuary,
accuracy.
the city in one piece while Roland's away. But first, I'm
Hold
gonna
on,
teleport
right,
you to
yeah.
the Bloodshot stronghold. That's where they're
I'll just
keeping Roland.
keep the gun damage
Catch
and
him by
weapon
surprise
accuracy.
and have a real advantage. It'll be great. Hold still.
Here we go.
I just moved you 2 feet, didn't I?
Yeah, we went like 2 feet, baby.
Still getting
Used to this. Reminds me though, Bloodshot Stronghold is full of real tough customers. Might want to train a bit before you take them on. You're doing good out
Basically,
there,
they're all
by the way.
level
Keep it up.
13, we're level 10. Get good. Thanks, Lil.
I'm kind of surprised though that they didn't bring Angel back for the prequel, since she would have been around.